19th century, English scientists became aware of an oddity of physics, little glass beads that are stronger than steel. Ever since then, physicists periodically return to this curious phenomenon in a futile attempt to uncover its secrets. Vivienne Parry discovers that at long last they might have made a breakthrough.
This is a 300-year-old scientific mystery story. It's the story of Prince Rupert's drops, and it's involved the scratching of very many clever heads, but very few clever answers, until, that is, this year. But first, let's go back to 1640, when the cause of all the trouble arrived in England. It was brought by Rupert, a prince from Bavaria, who later gave it to King Charles II as a present.
Charming, Rupert, but what is it?
These strange-looking objects are in fact pieces of ordinary glass. Now, Prince Rupert might have been in for a bit of brisk head-chopping for wasting the king's time, were it not for the fact that these possess an extraordinary property. Now, the head is so strong that it can take over a ton in weight, but break the tail like this, and the whole thing shatters instantaneously. The king demanded an explanation from his scientists, but nobody was able to oblige. Prince Rupert's drops provoked a scientific argument which raged for the next 3 centuries, until the arrival of Dr. Manohar Chowdhury. Dr. Chowdhury is an expert in cracks. He works at the Cavendish laboratories at Cambridge University, where 50 years ago the electron was discovered. Now the full weight of these labs has been brought to bear on the problem of Rupert's drops.
The first time I saw a Rupert's drop explode was in 1992. It was very fascinating. We worked on it, and I think we understand now the mechanism of their disintegration.
The secret of the drop's strength lies in how they're made. A rod of plain glass is heated up, and a glob dropped into a beaker of cold water. This causes the outer layer of glass to solidify rapidly. As the inside then cools, it contracts, pulling on the outside. This means that the outer layer of glass is permanently compressed. It's this that makes the heads of the drops so very strong. But in the tail, the outer layer becomes very thin, so it's much easier to crack. Once this happens, the tension inside is released and the whole drop explodes. Dr. Chowdhury has been exploding drops in front of a high-speed camera to observe exactly what happens.
Now!
He's discovered that a crack races up the tail towards the head of the drop at 7,000 kilometers per hour, causing the whole drop to shatter. But there remains one more unanswered question.
But, Rupert, what is it for?
Dr. Chowdhury has also been busy squeezing the drops, and he's found they're much stronger than steel. So he suggests that if they could be made without their fragile tails, they might be used as ball bearings. In order to make the drops round, they'd have to be made in a place without gravity, so that the molten glass would form balls rather than drops. That pretty effectively rules out planet Earth. But the important thing, of course, is that after 300 years, King Charles's question has been answered.
But, Your Majesty, they are for the manufacture of ball bearings in an orbiting space station.
Imagine this.